All right, everybody. So I think we've got a couple more trickling in, but we'll go ahead and get started here. I just want to go ahead and introduce everybody. My name is Joseph Sims. I'm part of the account management team here at DroneSense. I also want to thank Sean Qualy. This was actually his idea to set this up, and we really appreciate it. He's been a really strong user. He's got a great program going on. He's going to give you guys a little bit of background into how he's running things over there. And then we've also got Coitt Kessler. Coitt is retired Austin Fire Department and has recently joined the DroneSense team as part of our customer success crew. So what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Coitt real quick, and he'll give you a little bit more background on himself and his history in public safety UAS. And then we'll move into Sean and some of his history there.
Hey guys. My name is Coitt Kessler, and I am a 21-and-a-half-year veteran of the Austin Fire Department. I'm just wrapping up my 21-and-a-half years working for the city of Austin. And the last 8 years of that has been as a program manager for the Robotic Emergency Deployment Team, or we call it short the RED team. And we are very excited to be a part of DroneSense, the Austin Fire Department being part of DroneSense, understanding how this is really the glue and fabric that ties us all together. Now that I am officially on the DroneSense team, I'm able to facilitate organizations and meetings like this, it's really exciting for me because I've been on the user side for so long. Again, for 8 years, trying to figure out how to get people to work together, how to get people to be able to communicate while on scene, how to be able to operate in the national airspace safely has been something that it's been a goal of a lot of folks out there. And now being on the DroneSense team, I'm getting to see what's behind it and how that's actually happening. So again, Sean, I want to thank you for putting this thing together and hosting this. I'm really excited to see what you guys are doing up there. It's really encouraging. We have a regional program in the state of Texas. It's public safety unmanned response teams, and that is really the idea behind it. Is just getting everybody together for our disaster events, for our large events, and seeing them interoperate and understanding that you are leading that charge and working with the team of folks up there to make that happen. I couldn't be more excited to be rubbing shoulders with you and working with you on this. So thanks for all the work you're doing.
All right, Sean, I'll go ahead. If you could just give a little bit of background on yourself and your program. And then what we'll do is we're going to have Coitt give a brief overview of our platform, just so that you guys have a little bit of general context of DroneSense and who we are, what we do, how the platform works, and how it's supporting Dakota County as Sean's talking through things. And then Sean's going to go through his program in a little bit more detail.
Thanks for coming. I'm looking through the attendee list here, and I recognize a bunch of names from some stuff that we've worked on together. My name is Sean Qualy. I'm a detective currently with the Dakota County Sheriff's Office. I've been here for 21 years. I've been part of our program since 2015 when it started, and I became the chief pilot, the one kind of in charge and running the program in about 2018. We have 13 pilots and like 19 other people that are certified as just visual observers, basically our entire patrol division. My goal a couple years ago was to get more agencies involved, and part of that started with talking to Sergeant Dave Tim up in Baxter PD and finding out what agencies in Minnesota had programs, and we didn't really have a good idea. So that started the idea of creating the list that I send out to many of you. I think we're up to about 60 agencies on that list now. I haven't counted it up lately, but it's more or less just keeping everybody involved and working together when needed. This idea of DroneSense for us came about when my admin came to me and said, hey, what do you want? What do you need? And what's going to make your program better? For me, the first thing was the ability to transmit the video from a drone back to a command post or an offsite location. That was number one. Number two was records management. And Coitt will go over both of how those have helped us. They've helped us immensely. And DroneSense has been great to work with. We've only been on them officially for 1 year. We did test them for about 6 months. But our first official date with them was January 1st of 2021. So in that year, the company has been great to work with. They've been easy to work with. They've taken ideas from us here in Minnesota and other agencies around, and they ran with it and made the program better. So we'll let Coitt go over the overview of the program, and then I can go over just kind of how we do some of our stuff here and how it makes us better as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. And guys, if there is at any point a question that you have, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat log here. So go ahead and chime in on the chat, and I'll jump in and interrupt Coitt or Sean and get them to answer some questions for you as well.
All right, so I'm going to, Joseph, do I have permission to share the screen at this time? And we'll switch over to the slides. Yeah, there we go. I appreciate you, Joseph, for pulling that up for me. Thanks. Okay, so guys, starting off with the mission statement, I think that's, it's really important as everybody on this call is familiar. We got mission and vision statements, right? And that's really it's the architecture, the framework that we all build off of. And with DroneSense, I mean, as you can see, I'm just going to read it to you. We help the nation's leading public safety, government, and critical infrastructure organizations. Now that statement right there is pretty important. It says public safety. So that's all of us on the emergency response. And it says critical infrastructure organizations. So I've been very lucky. I was able to be a part of, and I guess I still am, I'm one of the state UAS coordinators, and I was the coordinator during Hurricane Harvey. And critical infrastructure is just as important as we are. I mean, if we don't have the power, if we don't have the gas, if we don't have the water, we're unable to get our jobs done. So again, with this mission statement, we are encompassing needing to help these organizations with the management of their drone programs. And we need to do this in a securely and safe, reliable way. And this all needs to be integrated into one platform. And as I go into the next slide, it'll kind of make probably a little bit more sense. So as was mentioned by Sean, is the running of a program, the admin side of the program. And I'm going to speak to each of these different areas here at a high level. And then if you guys want to dig in deeper, we'll certainly do that. You buy a DJI, so if you're going gray, if you're buying an Autel, you're going orange. If you're buying an Anafi, if you're buying any of these pieces of equipment, you understand that there are applications that come with them to allow you to fly and operate that system. We call that the user interface. That's just a fancy way of saying, hey, that is the thing I use to fly the aircraft with. DroneSense, and I'm going to make this very clear, was created with all of us, by all of us. It wasn't created by just a group of engineers. It wasn't created just by a group of first responders. It wasn't created just by a group of folks that understand business and how to make a business move forward and grow and scale. It's all of us put together working as a team. And that's where this gets a little bit different, is when you're looking at the pilot interface, and we're going to go into that in one of the next slides, you're going to see that it's actually custom built for us. It doesn't look exactly like it does on the interface that you see in your drone that you get off the shelf, or you orders through your vendor, but it has a lot of those it has the same qualities with a little bit of extra there to make sure that you can get your job done. The admin section, I'll be the first one to say, you are a public aviation organization, or emergency response organization. You're flying in the national airspace. You have to have a program. And in order to have a program, you have to document. In order to have a program, you have to be able to track. And I'll dive into that a little bit further. And then the third portion of this system that we have, so you have the user interface, the admin side for management, and then we have the operations hub, which is really exciting, and that is gathering that information from the camera screens and from the telemetry on the drones, and then sharing that with other operators and sharing that with decision makers. So it's getting good, actionable data to the right people at the right time so we can affect change. We can make good decisions. We can work safer, faster, more efficient using this information. And that comes from the Ops Hub. So thinking specifically about the pilot feature, these are some of the things that kind of set us apart. It doesn't matter if you're using, again, DJ, Autel, Nafi, or any of the other systems that will become part of our ecosystem. The user interface all looks the same. So when you're looking at these two photos here, one's just a thermal and the other one is a map view down below, it looks the same. So it does not matter what aircraft you fly, your experience, your flying is going to be you're going to have the exact same experience when operating these systems. This allows us to interoperate and collaborate together. So when we talk about airspace separation or deconfliction, those are words that are very popular in our community. It means flying in the national airspace safely. We're able to do that very, very easily with this pilot app. So on that bottom screen, you're looking at we had an event that we did here recently, and I think you're looking at 4 different drones that were operating over a Christmas parade. And each of those drones show up on the pilot map. So whenever you're flying, you get to see exactly where everybody's at in space. So not only where they're at, in the X and Y, but also the Z, where they're at in altitude. And you can read off those altitudes and you know exactly where you're operating from. So there are no problems. You don't have to worry about anybody hurting one another or getting into an accident. We're able to place markers down. Placing markers are really important because if you end up finding points of interest that you need to further look at, you can do that by using this pilot app, and that whatever one person's seeing on their screen, the other pilots are going to see on their screen. So it gives us a way to operate really well together. And then we have the intelligent flight planning, which you see in a lot of the other apps. And mission planning is what you'll often hear it referred to, but we go a little bit further on our end. We take everything, we make it specifically for us. So when we're doing a waypoint location, so let's say we have a set of coordinates that we need to fly a drone over to, we have coordinates that are in there that you can read back to the manned aircraft that's coming in to do the hoist or the ground troops that are going in to find them. Our orbits are set up specifically with us in mind. And if you're mapping, you can use our software to do all the mapping, and everything that we're using here is being recorded in this next section I'm about to talk about. So again, this is a program, not a project. There's 2 other areas here, and I'm going to start with the bottom, and then I'm going to work my way up to the top. In our software, you get a full system of record. I mean, it records every flight, every mission you're operating from. Anytime you turn your drone on, the aircraft is starting to record information. The batteries are recording information. The tablets or the hand controllers you are operating with are recording information. Your personnel, their flight hours, their certifications, that is all being monitored and collected. So somebody like Sean that's working with his team and a growing team of you in Minnesota, and will then be able to track all of that data together. And we know how powerful data is when we're trying to get our bosses and our decision makers to be able to act on our behalves. Maintenance programs are part of this. We have reporting features that are included within the admin feature. So again, this is a program, a public safety aviation program. And the last part, the sexy part, the one that everybody likes to see, is where we can actually take all of our drone feeds, multiple drone feeds, and we've done, I think, up to 25 at one time. And you take all those drone feeds and you're able to stream them onto one screen. And in those screens, you will see not only what you saw in the pilot app, which is where the drones are operating from, but you'll see what the drones are seeing out of the cameras. Those feeds then can be automatically sent to the decision makers. So let's say you have a battalion chief or you have a SWAT commander. that needs to have actionable information as soon as that camera turns on. The drone camera turns on, it initiates a notification that then sends an email or a text to the boss, the person that needs to make decisions, and they immediately get a view of what the camera is seeing through their drone lens. And once again, we've gone up to 25 and it has worked flawlessly. There's also QR codes that can be shared. So if you're trying to, let's say you're working a big pre-planned event and you need to print off these QR codes for your patrol officers to come by and take shots of the QR code, and then they can see what the drones are seeing out of the camera. And this is all secure. It's all managed by your admin. So it's a great tool. We have mission codes for interoperability. So as you guys up in Minnesota and that surrounding area begin working closer together the way that we're doing here in Texas, we share mission codes. So what that means is when you show up on scene and Sean says, hey, what's your mission code? This is mine. He's got a 6-digit mission code that he can share with you. You can share your mission code with him. And now everybody's operating off that same common operating platform. So that's exciting. I mean, that is super exciting. If you have regional events, if you have large scale events that you guys need to operate together with, neighboring communities that are coming in and doing mutual aid or automatic aid, you guys can share each other's mission codes with one another. And you're able now to actually be able to see what your neighbors are doing and work together. The last and final part that is in here, and there are several more areas, is the GIS and Esri component, which allows you to build mission layers and form pre-planning for your missions. So with that, I'll drop off and hopefully answer some questions later on. Sean, I'm looking forward to your presentation, sir.
I think for me now, it's just kind of program management of our program here in Dakota County. So how did we get started with DroneSense was, I kind of mentioned about 2 years ago, my admin came to me and said, what do you guys want for your program? What do you want in the program? And my biggest thing was to have the ability to transmit video back to command post. The secondary thing I wanted was easier records management. We were keeping records on a spreadsheet. We still keep records on a spreadsheet just because of what data we need to give to our Citizens Advisory Council, but it's a lot less information on the spreadsheet versus what we're getting from DroneSense. So I started reviewing several programs. DroneSense is one that I started reviewing right away. Had heard about it, saw it, watched a bunch of videos on it right when it first started up. I reviewed several other programs. I demoed other programs, and I also demoed DroneSense. And then I had to write up for my admin a big outline of what I did, what the programs offered, and what was the cost. And when I looked at a cost benefit factor of, I want the records management, but I also want the ability to transmit video, DroneSense was offering both of them at the best cost. We tested Axon. Axon is now part of DroneSense. Axon at the time was quite cost expensive. Now Axon uses DroneSense as their program because Axon must have realized that DroneSense has a great program. I tested several others. I'll be happy to share with you the document I am creating and providing to my admin, and then my outline as to why I felt DroneSense was the best. At the end here, I'll share my email address. If you don't have it already, I'll send it out to you. But overall, yes, we chose DroneSense. I reached out to others, and I kind of still do it in the quarterly, semi-quarterly email I send out with all the program contacts as to who's using what. And really, it seems like a lot of agencies aren't using anything, or they're using some real basic stuff. And that's great. If it works for you, awesome. I'm just here to let you know that we chose DroneSense, and I wanted everybody else to know that this is one program to use. And we're happy with it. Overview for our program, we have 13 pilots, three are on patrol right now, 8 are investigative, 2 are administrative. We have 17 visual observers. That's our entire patrol division. So we want to expand that a little bit more to get more pilots back on patrol. We've promoted a few from patrol into investigations as well as the last one. For us, for paper logs, we were estimating our time in the air. And we were estimating on the high end. I was basically telling my pilots for ease of adding up everything to make Excel spreadsheets, add stuff easier, just round everything up to the nearest 15 minutes. So somebody could put the drone up in the air for 3 or 4 minutes and land it, and they're going to get 15 minutes of credit. That's not the greatest amount of estimation. That's overinflating our estimation numbers. With DroneSense, the second you turn on your props, it starts tracking how much airtime you're going to be flying. The second that drone lands and the prop shut off, it stops its timer and it keeps track of that for you, and it's accurate. I think that for us, that's important. We require 3 flights in a 90-day period. I want to change that more to a timeline because of DroneSense. We're able to say, fly exactly 1 hour per month or per 3 months or whatever. With DroneSense, that would figure that out for you. DroneSense allows the easiest tracking of flights around. It keeps track, and hopefully Coitt can get on here in a little bit and show you on the map where your drone flew, how your drone flew. It can overlay your flight pattern over the Google Earth map. We did have one citizen kind of complain to our agency about, they thought the drones were flying over their house at one point for a law enforcement incident. And we were able to bring up and show them, no, according to Google Maps and according to all the GPS data, this is flying in this area. This is where it was at. Mission data is relative to the info that were needed for reports. I kind of talked about DroneSense has taken over the last year. I attended the weekly meeting. They do a weekly meeting for program managers. It's a Zoom meeting you can jump on and provide your ideas. It's heavily attended by the the Eastern United States, the Virginia area, and heavily attended by Texas. But I've gotten on there, I've provided some information, and DroneSense has taken that information and built on that and made their system better. What else? New missions, the data boxes, they're working with us. We told them our restrictions here in Minnesota with 62619, and I believe Texas has a similar thing right now where they actually have a testing process where they're able to create, and they're working on it. I've talked to them a few times where we can basically have that as an option to track missions as to what specific statute we flew under. Tracking of trainings for us, everything was always just kept on pen and paper. DroneSense has a training module in it where you can upload documents for your training. We upload PDFs of what our training is, an outline of it, and then I just document the people that went to the training. I give them the credit, and it holds on to that, and then you can print a report from that as well. Ops Hub, I don't know if Coitt, do we want to get into the Ops Hub stuff and just kind of show what some stuff looks like? But for us, we fly under an active mission. I know for my thing right now, I tell my pilots, when you go out and fly in a pre-made mission that I have on the system, it's called an active mission. When they start flying, like Coitt mentioned, it triggers an email and a text message to me. Since I'm the program manager and I need to know about all the flights, I can then use that text message or that email, and I can watch that flight live if I want to. And it actually helped out once. We had a missing suicidal person in one of our large parks, and they started flying. I got the message. I was down in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, for my week-long tactical training, and started watching them fly. And I was actually giving them tips as to where to go check and how to fly. And they were actually a couple newer pilots. They were flying pretty low. They were about 100 feet off the ground. Well, trees in that area are probably about 80 feet anyway. I said, put that thing up to 400 feet. You're going to get a bigger area. Call them up on the phone, called the VO up on the phone because I kind of had an idea who was flying, so I knew who the VO was going to be, and said, have them put up to 400 feet and get a better area to look around. And that's what they ended up doing. Ultimately, they did not end up finding the person, but just kind of managing that mission, and I was a 3.5 hour drive away was super helpful. After the flights for us, what we do is, because everything for those flights has been tracked under the active incident, I then go into the mission system and I create a new mission based off of case number, because obviously under our report writings here, or under our documentation here in Minnesota, we have to have a unique case number for incidents. So I track with a case number, I track with the agency that might have requested us, I track it with, and this is all in the narrative part of the mission creation. And I track it with the statute exception that we have, 62619 sub 3, whatever, sub 3 7 or whatever, maybe 7 is for training. That way, if I want to go down the road and say, okay, which flights had that statute specifically applied to it, I can search that in the CVS portion or CSV portion. And I've worked with and have been talking with the developers on making that report system better. And they've taken some of the ideas and made it better already, and they're working on it as well. So associate all those flights that my pilots did to that new mission, and then close the mission out. And now if I want to go back and see all the flights that were specific to case number 21 dash, whatever the case number may be, I search for that case number in the mission system, and I look at all those flights. There's a mission code that's been created. I suppose we can get into showing kind of what some of the stuff looks like. I can get logged into that mission from my drone. And also, one thing that DroneSense was doing, and Texas figured this out, Texas agencies figured this out, was if you have an Android device and you have the right items you buy off of Amazon, you're able to transmit video from other devices through DroneSense. In our case, we use the Recon Robotics Recon Scout robot for SWAT. And I bought the items. It wasn't much. It was like $30 total, $40 total. And that's one of the items I'm going to show you. If anybody's got a SWAT team and they want to show how you can get that live feedback to your team leaders, this program will help you with that. So I'll send it back over to Coitt, and I'm going to get logged into a couple of these as well here, and we'll show you some stuff.
Hey, thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. So we are logging in, and guys, when I spoke with Sean last week, this is a sincere statement. Let me put my video on here real quick. I just moved outside. I said, man, I wish I could reach through the phone and hug you. And the reason I say that is what you guys are doing up there with the challenges of taking in technology and trying to figure out how it works in our use space, because we all get it. Like, we all know, gather information, use information, safer, faster, more efficient. Like, we all get that. But what we don't understand how to do yet is take that information, build policies, build training, making sure that our response plans are working together, that when you show up on scene, that everybody has their place and everybody knows what they're doing, and it's a safe working environment, because that, again, public safety aviation flight program is the key. It's safety. So having that as key here is utmost. And what you're trying to do up in your region right now is very admirable. It's very difficult too. Trying to get people to all agree to come together and try something they haven't tried. It's a little bit scary, because we all have our own egos. We all have our own fears of showing people some weakness. But we don't know how this all works until we all get together. So I'm challenging you guys. Texas is challenging Minnesota and your region to get together and try to figure out ways of making this happen. The software will do it. This is the glue. Something I didn't mention to you was during the protest, May 29th, 2020, we began flying downtown, our protest here locally. And we flew over 3,000 flights together. That was 7 agencies, 3,000 flights. So think about that, 3,000 battery changes, 3,000 monitor, 3,000 flight hours. That is all of us working together as a team to make this happen. So just consider that, and consider what Sean is saying right now. What he's providing you guys is not only, hey guys, here's something worth looking at, but he's also saying, hey guys, here's something that's going to keep your organizations out of trouble. This is something that's going to get you guys moving a lot faster, a lot further, a lot faster. And I can attest to that from being here in Texas and operating with a very large group of people. You guys have everything we have, and we just need to put everybody together. So what we're looking at right now on the screen are individuals that have shared mission codes.
Yep, I've got my Mavic Mini in the window. You can see the fine snowfall we have.
Bless you. God, you guys are tough.
There you go.
I got a phone, so you can see my wall.
There we are.
For mobile streaming, and then I've got that chair you see, which is listed as a snowmobile. That's one of the things DroneSense did for us, for those that are listening. Back in March, April, when they started doing mobile streaming, myself and a North Dakota deputy were on the meeting, and we were joking because they had all these different icons that they came up with, and we just got in a snowstorm like we did last week. We said, you guys need to create a snowmobile. We were literally joking. The following week, they created a snowmobile icon for us. So if you zoom in enough, after a bit here, you're going to see the snowmobile icon. And that's the Throwbot. That's the Recon Robotics Throwbot that you see there. In all fairness, too, I think we just lost the robot. The battery might have died on guard. So while you guys are working on that, I'll get the pole cam up and running.
Cool. So guys, what you're seeing right now is this is what we call the ops hub, and this is that sexy piece that this is what we end up streaming back to the emergency operations center, or we end up sharing our notifications that would then go back to an incident commander. And so what you're seeing right now with these feeds are actually, I mean, Sean is hooking up his systems. We have Eric Shank that just popped in. That's our lead engineer here in Texas. He just popped up. These are feeds that are coming from literally all over the US right now. So if you're at all questioning, hey, will this work in Minnesota? Yeah, I mean, it's working across the United States, and it's working well. I just have my drone popped up here in the backyard, and I am going to pop that thing up in the air and demonstrate just what the latency of it. So I'm spinning up now. I'm launching. So I am gimbaling, as you guys can see as I'm flying here, and it is real-time actual information for us. We have some pretty nasty weather out here. It's got a good Texas rain. So I'm not going to take this thing off and go running through the neighborhood with it. But you can see that this allows us to pool all of our equipment together onto one screen to allow us to operate. Joseph, have you got the screen right now? Is that right? Do you have control, or is that Sean?
I've got it.
Would you mind zooming in on in my neck of the woods, kind of down a little bit into my area there? You guys see that little icon that was dropped? Let's keep going down. Let's see if you see anything in my neighborhood here. Keep going down. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you remember us talking about, if you'll pop back out just a tad. I know it's awkward, me directing over the phone here, but back up just a little bit further. A little bit more. There we go. That's perfect. Thank you, bud. So guys, you can see that actually dropped some. This is just some training we were doing the other day. I dropped some grids on the ground. Each one of those pieces of information that you're seeing, the yellow dots, that happens to be high power transmission lines that run to the power plant that's just beside our home. You guys can see the landing zone that we have with the helibase. You can see that the antenna tower, which we do have a tower posted here in my neighborhood, that is a hazard for us. You can see the flight boundaries that I created with the red square here on the right-hand side of our drone, you can see the information you can gather from the drone itself is the MSL it's flying at. So how important is that if we're operating with manned aircraft? Very, very important. You can see the AGL that the aircraft is operating at. So I'm at 39 feet AGL, but I'm at, what's it saying there? 621 feet MSL. So if you guys were out flying with Sean, this is what it would look like. You would be able to see all the aircraft on one board operating at the same time, and then be able to deconflict that airspace, separate that airspace, right? And operate safely. And then you can assign tasks. Hey, Alpha team, I need you to go over and map out that red box that the data specialist just put together. Bravo, I need you to go over to where the explosives are at and put an orbit over the top of that explosive building. So you can spell all this out and really develop an action plan even before you ever start your mission. And if it's just go time and you're out of the back of the patrol car or you're out of the back of the fire truck, again, the pilot app allows everybody to be able to see one another, and allows everybody to be able to operate together real time with the feeds. So really good information. And Sean, do you feel like you were able to explain the MSAT feature with the snowmobile? You feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, real quick, and then we'll get into a couple of use examples that I know Golden Valley is on the line here. They might want to jump in. Randy Mahlen and Tom Lowery with Eden Prairie. The camera you kind of see moving around now, you see my old tack vest there. That's my iPhone. My iPhone 13 is doing that. I can bring it back. I can kind of show you this TV screen that I'm looking at there. So that's mobile streaming there. And Joseph can get into how that is. That is an extra option, but if you can articulate it, I think it's worth it. What you're going to see now, you're seeing on the top screen there, I'm doing that, moving it around with my lovely office. That's with our Zitos pole camera that we use for SWAT. So to give you an idea, that's the camera I'm using. My iPhone is showing you that. I mean, just that mobile streaming alone, and it's showing me on a location as well. I believe they're both picking up locations. If we go all the way up to Minnesota area there. Yeah, it is, because it shows a little.
Hey, Joseph, will you do us a, sorry to interrupt, Sean. Hey, Joseph, will you hit Sean's icon and then go back up to the top of the our camera feeds and go to the grid formation and kind of make a larger grid so we can show all the camera feeds there together? Because it's a question I always had, was like, hey, is this the only way we can see it? Well, no, actually we can create all these different grids. So now, as Sean was talking, you can see exactly what his pole cam's seeing. You can see exactly what his Mini is showing outside his window, what his iPhone's showing, what my drone is showing, what Eric Shank's camera's showing. Like, it's pulling it all together. And if you guys needed to, you could put in the Weather Channel here. You could add in CNN or Fox News or whatever channel it is in the Emergency Operations Center that you need to see. That also can be part of those little boxes. So, I mean, Sean's got 3 different devices operating out of his office right now. It's fantastic.
And I haven't even touched what these guys in Texas do. Coitt and Brandon Carr and a few others down there. They're the ones that are just using this stuff constantly. I'll be reaching out to them more and more. Hopefully this spring, summer, I'll get together with the other agencies that are online that have DroneSense already. Golden Valley, Edina, Eden Prairie, Baxter, Crow Wing County area. I'd like to get together with those guys and do some trainings of mass incidents of some sort and just using DroneSense. And any type of training that we're going to try and throw together for anybody, you're not going to have DroneSense to be in at that training, but it'll make it easier for us.
And guys, let DroneSense help enable that. So Sean has thrown it out there for you guys the same way that I've done it here locally with our people. Sean is throwing it out to you and he's saying, hey, listen, let's work together. Let's do this. Let DroneSense help enable you guys for that training. So if you guys have that training, let's set you guys up with some demos. Let's get you guys in the system So then you guys can start practicing with this. So that when you show up for that training that Sean just mentioned, then it's on. You guys are operating at real time and actually able to do some cool things together. And this program was created by us to take care of us. So if Sean is saying, hey, DroneSense, I need help because we're gonna put this big event together, DroneSense is going to stand behind you, Sean, and we're going to be there to make sure that everybody has something that they can use. That's very important for us to be able to do.
I know we got Eden Prairie online. I think we might even have Edina, and Golden Valley for sure to see Randy pop in. Randy, you want to share some stuff about how drones? You're like the second agency in Minnesota to jump on board. So how did it help you guys out?
So my name is Randy Mahlen. I'm a sergeant with Golden Valley PD. I am our program coordinator. We've been a customer of DroneSense for just about a year now. I guess I can just I'll share two use scenarios. So we had the incident up here in Brooklyn Center, and with the civil unrest, we spent a couple nights on the roof of Brooklyn Center PD flying to support that mission. And having DroneSense, I was able to pipe all of our video right into the EOC in Minneapolis. And actually, on one of the nights, Sean and others from Dakota County were there, and Edina was there with a team and their Bearcat. And I was able to share that mission code, and they were able to see our video on the ground. Compared to everything that we've used, the ability to share video real time, it's definitely the best tool that we've tried, and that's the big reason why we went with DroneSense. Trying to get this. Can you guys see that video? Let's try that.
Now it is.
So yeah, Brooklyn Center, obviously there's a lot of moving pieces. We had a ton of people up there. But obviously having real-time video from the air to see how effective the lines were when they pushed up, from the north and the south, to see, where everyone started to scatter and try and contain that area. Obviously you can see there's quite a few people up there. I think this was Friday night going into the weekend. Yeah, overall, as more agencies join, we've trained with Edina on DroneSense. We've also did a full training day with Sean and Dakota County. The ability to share mission codes and pair your missions together virtually with no effort is huge. When we did those trainings, I could see all of Edina's pilots and all of Golden Valley's pilots at the same time, pick what video feed I want to have them all plotted out on the map. It worked great. In this scenario in Brooklyn Center, we had essentially 2 drones up at all times. The ability to see where they were at and at, what altitude was extremely valuable. And just having a program that encompasses the entire program, from managing, all the training for the pilots, we're very happy with it. This summer, we assisted Minneapolis PD with a barricaded suspect with a gun in the middle of the day in a neighborhood. We were requested by Minneapolis SWAT to assist. So they are not a DroneSense agency, but by having our van out there as kind of a mini command post, and DroneSense pulled up with the live video feed, their team leader ended up in our truck and was able to see real time what was going on. I don't even know how many times they thanked us. They couldn't believe the technology. In that case, we ended up perching a drone on the windshield of the vehicle, so it was barricaded in a vehicle. Let's see if I can get some photos up of this. So it was a pursuit after a couple armed robberies, ended up wedging himself in between that tow truck and a parked vehicle. Are you guys seeing this?
Yep.
So we are able to provide them. They wanted to know if the vehicle was disabled. They wanted to, see where the gun was in the car. Ultimately, as you'll see in this video, there's an Enterprise there that we end up perching right on the windshield, extended our battery life, and gave them a real-time view into the car. Ended up being about a 3-hour standoff. Ended peacefully after delivering a bottle of water and a cigarette with the robot. He ended up giving up. Again, Minneapolis has not used technology like this. They're attempting to start a program, but after 1280, their SWAT team experienced this. It's really driven them to try and start their program. But I'll take the mutual aid request and the experience. So that was the perch. I think I've got a couple just overall still shots of that scene.
With that, Randy, if I can jump in, mutual aid request wise, I know Edina had their missing child a month or two ago. I heard them all over METAC. It's one of the channels I do scan in the office just for when those big incidents happen. And I reached out to Edina at Eden Prairie and said, hey, I know you guys are on DroneSense. You know we are on DroneSense. If you need additional help, reach out to me. I'll come up there with a couple of my pilots and everything else. Got an email back 1 hour later saying, yep, we're reevaluating some stuff. We'll let you know after lunch. So just knowing that we had that interoperability if needed was great.
Yeah, so overall, we're super happy with the program. I am also willing to answer any questions if anyone has any. I'm also willing to set up demos of how we're set up. Feel free to reach out to me. Sean's got my contact info, and I believe it's also on several of the documents with the teams in Minnesota.
I believe we have Tom Lowery on as well. Tom, are you able to jump on and give a couple examples? And we don't want to go over too much of over an hour for everybody, so then we'll let Joe finish it up first. Joe will finish it up.
Hey everybody, Tom Lowery, Eden Prairie Police Department in Minnesota. My partner Jordan Corris is also on. It doesn't look like my video is working, but yeah, I just was on the call. Our team was on the call that Sean just referenced earlier in Edina, where we were both flying off of, I believe, an Edina mission code, and we were both streaming, so command could see both drones. So we did that there. A different team ended up finding the missing child. Yeah, and another incident that we used it in an investigative capacity was on a child solicitation for sex sting, where Johns were talked into a staging parking lot prior to meeting the decoy, and we were able to record the Johns arriving at that staging parking lot, and then the amount of time that they sat there, combined with the text logs, and then the movement from one parking lot to the arrest parking lot where the decoy was at. All of this was streamed back to our office, and the county attorney was in the command post area where the operation was being ran out of, and she's like, I definitely want this video. So we had great demo of it for multiple agencies. Basically our 494 Interstate 494 partners that do the sexting operations with us on a quarterly basis. We're all there and we're able to see it. So I know once it's seen, it's always going to be requested.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Randy, as well. That was a lot of great information there. Sean, thanks again for helping put all this together. All right, looks like Nelson, if I were to bring our UAV to say Dakota, can I join in on broadcasting or would I need to have DroneSense? Technically, you would need to have DroneSense. Now, there are ways around that. If there's a situation where Dakota County is out operating and they need more drones in the air and they call you in to help out, he could send you an invite. One thing that's a little unique about our platform is that we don't keep things locked down. So just because Sean has licensed X number of drones for his department does not mean that if he needs to call you in and you've got 3 more drones, that will block you from launching those drones. He could send you the invite. You could launch those drones. It will show up on his account. We're not going to charge him. We're just going to call him later and say, hey, I see you've got 3 drones on your account that aren't licensed. Was this a particular situation where you needed help, or do we just need to archive those and say, glad we were able to support you in that?
And with it, I know one question that didn't kind of get over to Joseph and get into it more privately with everybody, but the biggest thing I noticed between DroneSense platform and other platforms, they charge per drone, not per pilot. We can have as many pilots as we want. We're charged for each drone that we have. And that is their biggest pricing difference between this company and other companies out there. I think that was part of our benefit for us.
Yeah, and beyond that, you can have as many users on your account as you want as well. So it's not just limited to as many pilots. If you have other people within your agency where you need to have somebody watching to help keep track of maintenance, if you need to have somebody keep track of hours flown and things like that, but maybe they're not a pilot, if you have other people that they just need to be able to log in and watch an operation, you can have as many of those users as you need to. It's purely based on the number of drones and the number of viewers that you need to watch at the same time.
If I can tie into just what you just said, and what Sean was leading into there, is guys, be thinking about IT, thinking about your CIOs, your CTOs, the folks in your organizations that run technology for your organizations. This has been a learning lesson for me as a ground guy, is knowing how excited literally our partners that are in technology get when you start bringing them in. When you start getting in with your GIS specialist and they are helping you, and they can actually tie in something tangible with what you're doing, they get really excited and your buy-in goes way up. So as mentioned here is, use what Joseph and Sean just mentioned to your advantage. Bring those folks in early, tie them in, get them excited. And then when you guys are out doing the ops, because you will be the ones out in the field doing the ops, make sure that you have somebody back in the EOC that knows how to operate all this. Make sure that you have somebody that can add those GIS features that you need for a critical incident. It's just a home run across the board, and we're all learning this right now as we grow. But that's very important for us.
For anybody wondering, getting started on DroneSense was super easy. It was literally having them create the account for me, and then I started flying. The drones, the batteries, the iPads, all that information is automatically collected in the system.
Feel free to reach out to us. Again, Sean, I want to thank you. Can't thank you enough for helping to put this together and bringing this up. We feel really strongly about the power of interoperability. Coitt beats that drum constantly. I love it. I think it's great. Everybody working together. And that's part of one of our focuses here. So Sean, thank you again. If anybody needs anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Coitt, if you wanted to close out there also.
Yeah, I wanted to I'm looking down at both Tom and Randy as well. man, high fives to you, brothers. Thanks for thanks for pitching in on this and adding the content to it, because I think that perspective of, you know, coming from multiple angles is really important. That is something you guys were able to add today, and I'm really glad you guys jumped on. Sean, big hug to you, bro. Thanks for making this work. Looking forward to seeing you guys here in the future. And for real, like, I'm challenging you guys up there. Let's get something going where it's state against state, and we're building up some teams, some regional assets. We all know how important it is. So thanks everybody. And Joseph, I really appreciate you facilitating this. I'm closing out.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. We're going to go ahead and turn this off, and hopefully we hear from some of you guys soon. And again, thanks to everybody.
Take care, guys. Great seeing you.